August the 25th, 2022. We as a commission operate under the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 26 of the Town of Danvers General Bylaws, the Wetlands Protection Bylaw. After each applicant has presented his or her request and the board has had time to ask questions and discuss the project, we will accept questions from the audience. Because this is a public meeting, it is required by law that you give your name and address before you speak. Although we may disagree on the issues raised, all persons present during this meeting are expected to be civil and to all other meeting attendees. This includes the members of the commission, staff, abutters, concerned citizens, property owners, and project applicants. We also request that you confine your questions to the project and only as it pertains to the Wetlands Act. We cannot handle, nor do we have jurisdiction regarding such things as noise or traffic. All problems not related to the Wetlands Protection Act in the Town of Danvers Wetlands Protection Bylaw must be taken up with the other appropriate boards. Before we start, we'll have a roll call. Peter Wilson is present. Vanessa Curran.
Present.
Chelsea King.
Present.
Ann McGill.
Present.
And Michael Splain.
Yeah.
Okay, the first item on our agenda is a request for a certificate of compliance for 46 Riverside Street, DEP file number 14-768. And the applicant is Diane Tropiano Sanborn. Hi, Diane. Hi. Do you want to give us an overview of what the project was and its status?
Back in 1999, we were on the river here, and we basically rebuilt the house from the foundation up. And we added a second floor with 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. We extended out a sunroom. We took down a dilapidated garage and a boat launcher that had been also not working. We removed all that and rebuilt a new house.
Okay, now you're about to sell?
I sold
Okay,
today. Yes.
Okay, and Georgia, the way you had explained it, there was some work right on the riverbank? Or was it just all part of the house?
So she had indicated there was a boat launching ramp, which is something we never see before. It was very odd. It was railroad ties, essentially, that you would put the boat on and it would launch it down to the water. But it spanned the whole entire yard and then into the mud flat. So the order required that they remove that, which they had. So. And they do have a valid Chapter 91 license. And that was under that, so.
Okay, and there was one other note that I saw, that there, an as-built plan was not required?
Yep.
Is that because of the time of the order of conditions was issued?
Yeah, very common for the early 2000s to not require that. And I believe what was required at the time of the application wasn't as much as we would require today.
Okay, and did you get out and inspect the?
Yes, I went today.
It was good?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have for questions. Mike, do you have any questions?
No.
Chelsea?
Nope.
Ann?
No.
And Vanessa?
No.
Okay, if someone can make a motion, we can issue a certificate of compliance for this piece of property.
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 46 Riverside Street, DEP file number 14-768. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're all set?
Thank you. 1999. That was 5.
So I can email it to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay, great.
I was catching
Perfect.
Pokemon.
It's 7 here.
Good luck.
Bye
now.
Number 2 is notice of intent for 24 to 42 Cherry Hill Drive, DEP file number 14-1389. The applicant is Abbreviated. And they're all here virtually.
Yeah, we're all here virtually. My name is Shara Lewis. I'm the project manager. I work for JLL, and I'm Abbiomed's project manager. Also here tonight is Mike Hood, director of facilities for Abbiomed, and Chris McCarthy, planner with High Point Engineering. And I think Danelle might be coming on. He may be stuck in the waiting room or just getting the link, but Danelle Baptiste, the engineer. And so we're back again. Thank you for having us. We made the corrections that were requested, and I'm happy to go through those unless there are some other questions from the commission before I begin.
No, go ahead, that's fine.
Okay, so starting on page 2 of the package, we added a note, which is GN01. We added a note about no snow storage, no fertilizer, and no mowing within the buffer zone. And then on page 4 of the package, Georgia's navigating for me, which is sheet, I think C200. I think it's earlier in the package there.
I'm too far behind. All right.
C200,
There
yeah.
we go. And Danelle
So on
just-
C200, we added, we talked with George and we added no snow storage signs. There's a detail for those on a detail sheet further down. And now, if we go ahead now to L100, which is page 11 of the package, it's the landscaping layout where you were before. That was where we brought back in the trees that had been shown originally and then removed. So all the trees are back. We added the conservation discs that Georgia recommended. We modified the planting beds to add in different pollinator-friendly plants, such as butterfly weed, lupin, yarrow, rudbeckia, daylilies, and fall sunflower. And those are all in all of the beds. Those are provided. And I'll let Chris McCarthy in a moment add a little bit to that. And then we also added a note on this page about no snow storage. Chris, did you want to say anything more about the plants before we go to the next page while we're on the layout?
Well, no, everything we chose out here, because there's no irrigation, it needed to be drought tolerant and, urban tolerant. So, because, it's a wide open parking lot of sun, no irrigation. So everything we chose here is will address that. And we included, as Shara said, all the plants that the pollinators that were recommended by Georgia. And so that's where we are. So everything.
Yeah.
We
didn't get all 5 of the ones Georgia recommended, but we made some substitutions.
The aster needs a little more moisture out here. I didn't think, I wasn't too confident it would do good out here. So other than that, we tried to do what we could.
Yeah. And going to the next sheet, L101, is the detail sheet for the landscaping. So you can see in the upper right, we've added the discs, the no disturb signs, and that's the detail it's shown. The locations are shown on the previous sheet. Chris updated his plant list there in the middle, and then we have some added notes at the bottom, and then the upper left, I believe it's the same as the last one we presented. It's the New England conservation seed mix, which will be in all areas within the buffer zone that aren't planting beds. And that's pretty much everything, unless Chris or Danelle or Mike have anything more to add.
Excuse me, I apologize. I was having some technical difficulties. Danelle Baptiste from High Point. Good night, everyone. I think, aside from that, we incorporated these items into our operation and maintenance plan as well to reinforce that these items and concerns of the town is being addressed as well.
I think that's it for our presentation. I'll turn it back to the commission for questions or responses.
Okay, one quick question, that whoever was speaking on the landscaping plants, just detected a note of apprehension about, you were hopeful that some things would take. Could you just expand on that?
No, it was the aster that, no, Georgia had had given us a list of pollinators that, maybe we would consider, and one of them was aster. And that one we didn't include because that needs a little more moisture than we think we have out here.
Okay.
Okay. So we didn't include that. So no, none of the plants out here I'm concerned about.
Okay, good, thanks.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
All right, let me just have each of the members have their opportunity to ask questions. So Mike, Go ahead.
No, I have no questions. They did what we asked them to do. So.
Chelsea, anything?
Yeah, no, this is what we wanted to see, so, I don't have any questions either.
Okay. Ian?
No, they really matched everything that we talked about last meeting, yeah.
Vanessa, do you have any questions?
I just have one clarifying question about the snow storage areas. Were they just moved out of the 100-foot, or were they removed entirely from the plan altogether?
So Abbreviated has recently, or in the last year, changed, and no snow storage is on the site unless there's like a short-term emergency where we can't truck it off in time. But the signs are posted at the right along the bottom edge of the plan here. The signs will be there. So the intent, though, is to truck everything off-site and not. We don't have any designated long-term snow
So
storage
it's not
on
just
site.
in
Okay, thank you.
jurisdictional area.
And that is also, as Danelle said, it's also reflected in the long-term O&M, as well as, I believe, in the construction O&M package too, although we don't intend to do any work on this project during a snow season.
Okay, thank you. All
All
set.
set? Are there any questions or comments from the public? Okay. So first order of business for this is to, I guess, close the public hearing, so someone can make a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for 24 to 42 Cherry Hill Drive, DEP file number 14-1389.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the next thing we need to vote on, Mike, do you have a question?
Oh, wait,
Yeah. We have to issue a waiver for work within the 35 to 50-foot buffer zones, as shown on the plans provided. So,
I'll make a motion on that.
okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that the board issue a waiver for work to be done as shown on the plan within the 35 and 50-foot as part of this order.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we just need a general motion to issue an order of conditions.
Are we still gonna keep the $10,000 performance guarantee
That would
bond
be
Order.
part of it?
part of it, yes.
Okay.
Would be an additional condition.
Okay, I'll make a motion to issue an order of conditions for 24 to 42 Cherry Hill Drive, DEP file number 14-1389, with an additional performance guarantee to the amount of $10,000 to cover the cost of the proposed landscaping work.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, in Georgia, the mechanics of the bond will be worked out.
I'll figure that out with Shara and their team.
Good enough. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank
you.
you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is notice of intent for 7 Chevalier Ave, DEP file number 14-1386. Is this the one we're continuing, or is this the new?
This one is continued to
Continued.
September 8th.
So do we need to vote on that?
No, you can just
Okay.
make that motion to continue. He has requested.
Okay.
You're welcome.
All right, so
Doug.
that one's until September 8th,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for 154 Water Street. That one has also been requested to continue to September 8th.
And Mr. Chair, if I could just note that I have heard from our wetland consultant, who is Mike DeRosa from DeRosa Environmental. They are going to meet with Goddard, who is the applicant's wetland scientist. They will meet the second week of September, is the first time they're able to get together between their schedules. So I anticipate that this 9/8 discussion will be continued until after they've had a chance to go out to the site and do their meeting. So I will keep everyone updated, but it should be reflected on the agenda. If anyone's watching at home, just keep looking at the agenda.
Okay, so do we need to vote to continue, or is it? we
That
just-
one's automatically continued too.
Okay. And there's, looks like no one wants to make a comment. Okay, next up is number 5, notice of intent for 7 Chevalier Ave, DEP file number 14-1390. The applicant is Joseph Rocco, and this is for the garage.
Good evening.
Devin Morris here for the record, wetland scientist from Hancock Associates. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes. Okay. So I'm here on behalf of Mr. Joseph Rocco. Here tonight we are proposing for this specific project a 2-car garage within the 200-foot riverfront area to the Porter River. Georgia, are you pulling up the plan?
Yeah.
Thank
sorry,
you.
it's just
No
a little
worries.
delay.
No rush. So this is pretty straightforward in regards to what we're doing here. And you can just zoom all the way in, Georgia, to
Perfect.
where the garage is actually being proposed. So what we tried to do here is stay out of all of the resource areas. You are all very familiar with the site. We have Coastal Bank, Saltmarsh, Riverfront area, etc. on site here today. And so what we've done is we are proposing the garage to be actually just within that 200-foot riverfront area, outside of the 100-foot inner riparian zone, outside of the 100-foot to coastal bank. We looked at and provided an alternatives analysis as to where we should be placing the garage. This makes the most sense in regards to placement, in regards to impact to the WPA and to your local bylaw. So we have existing on site 33,000 and some change total existing riverfront area. This impact is 2570 square feet. So it's a 27 by 37 2-car garage. What we also have stayed out of is land subject to coastal storm flowage, that flood zone that is just right here, if you can see my little pointer. So it kind of rides up. So we are outside of that as well. So more or less, we reached out to the town engineer. We asked if we needed to provide, stormwater management, which we actually propose some, I believe it's a, excuse me, lost my place. It's a, we have our erosion control, and then we have our Coltech recharger. Yep, thank you so much. That stormwater changer that's surrounding that 24-inch crust stone around the garage itself. And then we also have some PVC roof drains, 4-inch roof drains as well. So more or less, like I said, very straightforward in regards to the property and what we're doing here. Zoning restrictions, we're trying to stay within that setback. And then we also are attaching basically to an already disturbed surface, where right here where my pointer is driveway now. So we are implementing erosion control, like I said, that straw wattle barrier where my cursor is, and it will kind of guard that 100-foot buffer zone to coastal bank, demarcated with that yellow line. And we did conduct a site visit for the previous project and kind of laid that out with you guys. So I'm hoping to answer any questions that you might have, and hopefully close tonight's hearing and get an issuance of an order of conditions.
Okay, I'm just going to start right off with the members of the board. Mike, do you have any questions?
Yeah. On the riverfront, the proposal to alter 7%, is that correct, of the?
Of the alteration?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, so we are under that 10% or 5,000 square foot threshold allowed under the 10.58.
The area of alteration, well, obviously, the garage, where the garage is going, what's there now?
Right now, it's lawn, manicured lawn.
So that's part of the alteration?
Yes, exactly.
And could you just explain where the rest of the alteration is? The garage I calculate is 1,000 square feet, 999, I think.
Yeah, so it's just the garage is where we're proposing that alteration. So the calculations that I received from our engineering, you got a 27 by 37 2-car garage. And then you have the impact associated with the Coltech recharger. And then you also have the erosion control, which is kind of demarcating your limit of work here. So that
I'm just trying to figure what if the garage is Yeah, 27 by 37, that's 999 square feet.
Mhm.
The, when you did your calculation, where is the other 1,570 feet of alteration? Where is that?
It could, if you're asking me, it could also be, so when we're saying alteration, that doesn't technically equate to impervious surface.
Right.
Yeah,
So we do have the garage, which equates for a chunk of that impervious surface, but
Yeah.
the grading to accommodate the new grades around the garage, the installation, similar to what Devin had just said. So the
so as you
work.
point, not necessarily impervious, but any disturbance.
Exactly, so that's 2,500 something square feet of new riverfront area alteration, so it's no longer lawn, something else is happening, and it seems to encompass that whole entire pink dashed.
Yep,
Limit.
impact generally.
Okay, and do you get water there?
Do we get water there? It's actually at a little bit of a higher elevation, and Mr. Rocco is here tonight. He might be able to answer any questions.
You don't?
No, it's a hill. Yeah.
If Georgia zooms out, you'll see, the elevation is the exact same as my existing garage floor. Then I'm gonna get water in my garage.
And you have lawn now, are you using fertilizer now? Because we would prohibit that.
I never use fertilizer. If you'd like to go speak about it, it's brown.
Everyone's lawn is brown right
No
now.
water,
Yeah.
no fertilizer.
That's all the questions I have, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Chelsea?
Yeah, if I remember the site correctly, there were some trees in that area. What's the plan for that? Are those gonna be cleared out, taken down?
No trees. Trees are mainly along here where my cursor is, so I don't have my. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Yep.
He didn't identify himself.
So trees are along here, and then we have a perimeter fence where basically that erosion control will line up to. So no clearing necessary.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And also, are you gonna need to dig like a foundation for the structure?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
The building department requires frost walls.
okay,
I have to dig down 4 feet.
right,
When we did the water test, the water, the drainage for the Caltex, when we did that, we dug down about 6.5, 7 feet, so there's no ledge in it.
okay. And also just, when you excavate for the foundation, what's gonna happen with the excavated material? Are you gonna store it on site, remove it, just ship it out immediately? Okay,
Yep.
One of my trucks will be there taking it out immediately.
all right. Those are all the questions I had.
Will you need some of that material for backfill?
I will probably use some crushed stone, and then I will use the material that's there to top over. You don't wanna put the soil directly against the new, frost walls, you wanna have a little bit of drainage there.
Right.
So I will put some crushed stone.
Our concern is if there's any soil left over from the excavation,
It's covered.
that it's covered or protected by erosion control.
We can cover that, that's not.
Okay, Ann,
No.
any questions?
I remember the site.
Vanessa?
I just have one question. Where are the garage doors? Like, is there vehicle access, and on what side is that on?
That's on the street side, correct?
No, it's on the driveway side.
Pull in the driveway to the existing garage, you pull straight in, you look to your right, there's the garage doors.
Joe, do you mind going to the mic? Sorry, thank you.
So, the existing garage doors
Want to get this done.
are right here. I'm going to have them matching, so they'll be opposing each other. So you pull in the existing driveway and just pull into this garage, or you pull in and pull into that. This is essentially the people who came to the switch so that's what it is. Thank you.
Okay,
You
so
have a
it's,
question, Chelsea?
Yeah, then what's that
Sorry,
smaller
Vanessa.
rectangle to the right of the proposed
That is the
structure?
Coltech, right here. Yeah, that's the Coltech.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
And then we have our test pits here and here.
What is it,
just-
Chelsea?
just for application.
that's a
The
good layout, because
Caltech
then you're not
recharger,
driving
it's a
over
stormwater chamber.
the stormwater system.
Right,
And then
right,
also, like,
yes.
you're utilizing the
Okay.
existing pavement rather than adding
Exactly.
more.
Yep,
Okay,
that's the
That's
goal.
a good layout.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else.
You all set?
Yes.
Could I just ask one more question then?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. With regards to that chamber, how did you pick that design and, or size? Could you just talk about that a little?
Sure. I'm not sure if I'm actually the best qualified to talk about this design, as one of our engineers who chose that isn't available. So it might have to be a question that we can get back to you on. Yeah, if you want to take a
You
whack
wanna
at it,
address
you're
it?
more than welcome.
When we had,
You should identify
Jason,
yourself.
when he did the calculations,
Who are you, sir?
I'm Joseph Rocco, I'm the homeowner.
Yeah.
My company is very familiar with Caltex. We've installed them for customers for years. So I had asked him to use a Caltech product,
Uh-huh.
and he had done the calculations, and that's how he came up with that. If you go to Georgia, one of the other plans, you'll actually see the Caltech design
Page 2.
right there.
And what does it do?
That will allow the water, you'll have all of the gutters drawing down into the downspouts, going into there and allowing it to leach into the soil. So
Only the roof water then?
all the runoff from the roof, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
How about the runoff from the driveway? Where does that go?
Driveway's already existing. Not too sure if that was in calculation, but this is going to be infiltrating to what's being proposed.
When are you planning to start construction?
I'd like to dig the foundation before the freeze.
How long do you think it's gonna take? I mean, once you get started, you're just gonna go right through, or is this?
I would probably excavate that in a week. The foundation guy, hopefully, I can line him up. I've already spoken to him. Hopefully, he'll be able to pour the foundation a week or two after that. We've got to let the cure backfill. So, I mean, we plan on proceeding.
Okay. Now, I'm thinking as I was, if my back was to your existing garage, to the right of the new garage, there was a good strips of land. You're saying that's gonna be lawn again?
Yes, you will still have lawn between the new garage and the tree line.
And do you store anything there, floats, boats, or anything in the wintertime?
No.
Okay.
The only boats that I have is the boats that are in the water, and I have them on trailers. And I would probably leave them in the driveway.
Okay. Okay, we're all set as a commission. Any other questions? Is there any public questions or comments? Sir? Yes, please, just identify yourself and your address and...
My name is Jim Bartlett, 8 Chevalier Ave. 100% in favor of Joe's project. Everything he's done over there is unbelievable, so 100% in favor.
Okay, good,
Thank you.
thank you. Is there any other comment? Nope. And this is pretty straightforward, right, Georgia? Just, there's no waivers or anything?
Nope.
Okay, if someone can make a motion, we'll,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for 7 Chevalier Ave, DEP file number 14-1390.
Second motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, if someone can make a motion, then we will issue an order of conditions.
I'll make a motion to issue an order of conditions for 7 Chevalier Avenue, DEP file number 14-1390.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And no fertilizer?
That's
That's-
boilerplate.
But that's
Standard,
that's
yeah.
part of the order of
Yeah.
conditions.
Yes, yeah.
I'll put it in there.
Okay, so in 3 years or less, we hope to see you back here.
Yeah, I asked about that. They're not doing any clearing.
No,
Thank
no,
you,
it's
commission
wonderful.
members.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
No,
Oh.
on the
Oh, yeah.
fertilizer.
Yeah. Well, he said he
Mike, you
doesn't.
got something?
Oh, no, I was just noting that we had a note to be mindful about prohibiting fertilizer use. Is that because that's not standard or,
It is standard in our orders, but it's nice to make it a point in a conversation
yeah?
that it really sticks out.
So as a commission, is every project we look at now, we address the fertilizer issue?
Yeah, so we call them our boilerplate standards says in there, no fertilizer or salt use. That's just a blanket condition.
Regardless of the 25, 35, or the 50, if you're in the 100, the 200,
Exactly.
that's
We throw it
jurisdictional
on
for
every
us.
single one.
All right.
Do people read all those conditions and are homeowners after the 4th edition aware of it? No. But I think when we're talking about it more right now,
It's
being-
good we stress it then.
Exactly.
Right, I think as a
Yeah.
whole, it's getting a lot more awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
good.
George.
You're all set. Thank you.
I'm next, so I'll just stay up here.
Okay, but just to get back to 7, so we'll see you again at our next meeting for the pier,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
No.
Okay, good. It's coming. Okay, so now, Devin, you're on the next one as well?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so the next one is a notice of intent for 367 Maple Street, DEP file number 14-1391. The applicant is the National Veterinary Associates. And Devin is here to represent the applicant, so
Yes, here with me also tonight I have Russ Tedford from Hancock Associates, project engineer. He's going to be talking a little bit about the engineering aspect of the project, and then I'll open it up with the existing conditions and landscape, and then we'll move on from that. So we did not receive any comments from DEP, but we did receive engineering comments. So that's something that the commission should understand and note now. We are looking into that, so we're more or less going to have to come back to you for revisions. But I did want to open up the hearing tonight and just to give you a little bit of information as to what's being proposed. So we do have the Danvers Animal Hospital in front of us here on the plan that Georgia is providing on the screen. So what we're proposing under this notice of intent is to permit an addition to the existing building within buffer zone and local, some work within local subzones under the WPA and the Danvers Wetlands Ordinance. So right now we have our building, and also, now that I think of it, just to make note, we are currently under a review under the Historic Commission, which might be brought up later during comments.
And the which commission?
The Historic Commission.
Mass Historic?
Yes.
What's
Yep.
triggering that?
I'm not too sure. I just found out today. So I don't have much information on it. I know it's more or less in the works, is what I was told. So just so the commission is aware that might be something that we have an audience for, or might be brought up to you as a board. So we have an existing building, which is the animal hospital, a small house down here, and then a barn. So as you come in from Maple Street, I believe is up here. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Not a problem. As you come in, this is already existing impervious surfaces right here with associated parking. And then this area here right now is just lawn. So it's kind of it's just used for recreational purposes, walking, dogs, whatever. But that's the area here today. And so the resource areas on site are the bordering vegetated wetlands associated with the A series. So as my pointer kind of moves about, this is the wetland line, which I delineated. And then we also back here along this side, I don't have my north arrow, have an associated perennial stream. So that has a 200-foot riverfront area. So that 200-foot riverfront area is right here. So then it follows along. It comes back up, it comes around. So those are the resource areas and environmental constraints affecting the site today, and their associated buffer zones. Could we move on to the next page? Talk about the proposed work. So the area is 3.98 acres. And as I said, there's no vernal pools, special environmental priority habitat species areas, but there is, like I said, bordering vegetated wetlands, which is highlighted by that green line here. Our blue line is the riverfront area. Our orange line is that 35-foot no disturb zone, and that wraps around the property. And then our 50-foot is that orange line here. 100-foot is that yellow line. So mainly our impact of impervious surfaces is within that 100-foot, that 50 and 100. And then we do have some grading and some paving, reworking through the 35 and the 50, and we're not touching anything within the 35, just in regards to proposed work. So what we're doing is we're proposing to construct about a 1,500 square foot addition to the existing animal hospital, and then improve and increase the parking. So the animal hospital needs additional parking. They're going to also, outside of jurisdiction, add a dog walking area. So that is right here. And then they're gonna add parking where that manicured lawn is, right here. And then rework the parking that's in here. And so also included, outside of jurisdiction, is demolition of their existing barn, right here. Just to give you a better idea as to what's going on. So demolition will include the removal of pavement within the 100-foot buffer zone and the 50-foot no-build zone. And then there is an existing concrete pad to be removed and restabilized within the 35-foot no-disturb zone. What I'd like to do after I introduce Russell is then talk about the landscape plan, because we are going to be introducing some native landscape as not only mitigation, but just to enhance the existing area today. And then, so what we're gonna do also is there is an existing front bituminous concrete sidewalk that runs parallel to the proposed curb stops and retaining wall on the northwest side of the property. And then, like I said before, the existing front manicured lawn will be used as additional parking for people who are visiting the clinic, visiting the hospital with their dogs and animals. So I think, more or less, I kind of broke it down. I'm hoping that you guys looked at the packet in regards to existing impervious, proposed impervious associated with the local subzones and the 100-foot buffer zone. And then I also included the breakdown for the waiver requirements, which we do not exceed any of those said max allowable impact thresholds under the allowable alteration within the local subzones. Within the 0 to 35, we have about 20,000 square feet. Our allowable impact is 2,018 square feet. We're proposing to impact 124, which is more or less 1%. Between the 0 and the 50, we have about 26,855 square feet. We're allowed to impact about 5,300. We're proposing to alter 476 square feet. And then between the 35 to 50, we have about 6,000, a little bit over 6,000 square feet of buffer zone. And then we have 1,200 allowable. We're altering 352. So that's more or less 5%. So yeah, I'd like to give it away to Russ to talk about the stormwater management and any other engineering aspects, and then I can take it away with the landscape.
Good evening. Russ Tedford, Hancock Associates. I was a civil engineer on this project. Could we just flip to sheet 4? So the existing condition of the site, there is currently no stormwater management. Runoff from the rooftops, the pavement, essentially just sheet flows, directing down towards the wetlands. There is another analysis point that we looked at, and that's 361 Maple. or it might be 367. It's the abutting property on this side as the other design point. So in order to attenuate the additional parking as well as the addition, we've gone with underground infiltration chambers. It's typically low-profile chamber meant to utilize good draining soils. We do have a lot of soil testing on site, as denoted up here. Groundwater is called out anywhere between 10 to 12 feet, depending on the site. Depending on its location on the site, and those are notated in and around the infiltration system. And so in terms of treatment, what we went with is deep-hooded some catch basins as well as an isolator row. So when you think of when stormwater is directed towards these systems, water is going to enter the catch basins. The deep sump allows sedimentation to settle before entering the chambers. And what the isolator row does is offer another backup to that, where it catches any sediment that isn't able to be drawn out during the catch basin, the deep-hooded catch basins. And then, so after this going through water, it's going to stage up in the system, and eventually it's discharging through an outlet control structure down to a flared end section located at the toe of slope. I'll point those out here. So system 1, outlet is right here. So it's like 35, and system 2 is right there. But in doing that, we evaluated all the storms, the 210, 25, and the 100, and we were reducing rates and volumes throughout all the storms. And I know Devin mentioned about grading associated with the handicap parking and the added parking. So there's a limit of grading, obviously, down here associated with the new parking. They're regrading the area along here in order to accommodate handicap spaces, as the main entrance is here, utilizes an existing ramp that loops around and connects into the building that way. And I think that's it. So,
Questions? No? No
I think
questions?
just get one more piece to talk through first. Itching to ask questions.
Well, I wanted to ask him a question.
Do we have any questions at this time, or can I take it away with the
Oh,
landscape?
why don't you finish yours and then we'll just.
Great,
we'll
yeah.
hit you with
So
a bunch
we,
of
yeah.
questions.
So we provided our, can you go to the landscape plan? Thank you. We provided a landscape plan. We also provided a photometric plan as well, but I'd like to talk a little bit about this. James Emanuel, who's a landscape architect, worked with myself and project team to develop a native landscape plan. And so what we really tried to emphasize here was between the 30 and 50, 35 and 50, we aren't disturbing in regards to impervious surfaces. We're more or less looking to regrade, rework that parking lot, and then the expansion of pavement between the 50 and the 100 is really kind of what we're looking at as in regards to our disturbance. So we tried to put some tree species in here, some native tree species, some herbaceous ground cover, and more or less a lot of native shrubs throughout the outskirts of the parking lot here. And then what we've also done is we've implemented some native species as well along the entirety of that 360 of that parking lot, that additional parking lot up in the front against Route 62 there. So that's more or less what we've tried to do in regards to native landscape, and I think that's kind of what I'd like to emphasize on, and hopes to answer any questions in regards to species specific or anything that you have in regards to that, and then open it up to the commission to any other questions that they might have about the project.
Okay, Where is the new addition gonna be in this
Yep,
drawing?
yep, good question. I probably didn't point that out. That new addition is right here. So it's this area. So it's right off of that existing building. Thank you. Right off that existing building.
So it's partially within the 100-foot buffer
Yeah,
line?
so that's a good chunk of that area of the addition is within the 100 foot. And, I mean, right now, existing today, we have a concrete sidewalk, right? And then some curbing already, pavement already, parking already. So this is more or less that impact associated with that addition. And then everything else is more or less outside of jurisdiction.
Okay, and was there demolition too? The garage was gonna be?
Yeah, so there is a barn that's going to be demolished.
Is that the shaded right there?
Yes, yep.
Yeah. Okay, but that's outside of our jurisdiction.
Yep, and there's a small little house right here, so this is actually the historic commission, what they're trying to do. So just
Are you proposing any changes for that?
not to the house, but demolition of the barn. So that's not under the historic commission's purview right now, but like I said, that's really all I know, and I'd like to not make any
Okay,
more notes
well,
on it.
there's many other approvals you need for this as well.
Not with that at this moment in time, not that I know of.
No, but just the project as a whole has,
In regards to the addition, so just
no, just the project as a whole. Don't you have to go in front of the planning
yeah,
board and everything else?
so they'll be, they're in front of planning board.
Okay,
Yeah, so the engineering department commented under a review, so we have to make those revisions as well.
okay. Okay, let me give the other commissioners a chance to ask questions. So Mike, go ahead.
Does the barn currently serve as a storage of anything, or is it just an empty structure?
That's actually a really great question. So here tonight with us, we have Ginny Gregg and Nancy McMahon. I don't know if they might be able to answer those questions as to what that barn is used for. I'm not too sure.
I was wondering what it was used
Sure.
for.
Hi, Ginny Gregg with National Veterinary Associates. Thank you for having me join remotely. So right now that home and what was previously the barn is all being used as a multi-unit residence. So above what was previously the barn space, there is an upstairs area.
Does that answer your question?
Okay. With regards to the impervious, is there a net impervious increase, the same, or where are we with that?
Yes, so the net impervious the impervious total is about 12,000. There's about 1,000 to remain in regards to the building itself, and then the proposed addition is about 486 square feet, and this is all within the 100-foot buffer zone. So just as I break it down, so there's a decrease in impervious within the 50, and there's a decrease of impervious within the 35.
Where does that come from on the drawing?
Yes, so that's actually going to come from the pavement, the reworking of the pavement here. So you have your 35 to 50 is right here. So this area from where the existing pavement is all going to be more or less reworked. And then from your 50 to 100, this area around coming up is all going to be reworked.
What do you mean by reworked?
They're going to be doing some grading changes and then some repaving, moving curbing, that sort of thing to accommodate for the parking structure.
Yeah, so what accounts for the net decrease? That you're taking up asphalt, hot top, sidewalks, what?
Pavement to remain versus pavement proposed, I guess is the kind of the
So
weir.
you're removing pavement, that's gonna give you a net. With regards to the 100, that's coming, a measurement from a river?
No, the 100 is from the wetlands. So the BBW. BBW is here. Your 100-foot in a riparian zone is, this is Beaver Brook right down here, I believe. Or this is the 100, I can't.
That's Beaver Brook. You got it.
Right?
That's
okay. So your 100 is somewhere in here.
Oh, it is?
Yep,
And- your and-
200 is here.
And the 200's there.
Correct.
But it's a perennial stream, right, so we're worried about
But that's,
200.
it's that measurement's coming from a different place than the 35
That is
and the 50, so.
Right.
We're talking about two different areas.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
All right. And then, I had a question for
Him.
this gentleman about, what is the existing treatment for runoff? What is being used now?
Nothing. It's so everything falls out like from the rooftops, down to the pavement, and sheet flows essentially. There is a little bit of a cross pitch on that front row of parking, and that's how it gets down to the wetlands. There's no current
So
stormwater
that's just an
management on site.
improvement in that sense. You're going to put a system in.
Yes.
We'll have more questions about that, I'm sure.
Two, right? One on either end.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, that's all I have for now. Thank you. Thank you both.
Mike, thank you. Chelsea?
Yeah, could you go into a little more detail on, like, what the regrading is gonna be like what that process is gonna look like?
So the regrading at the front part, or the south side of the building, it's really going to be, they're going to saw cut the pavement. I think on sheet, could you please pull up sheet 3? I think there is a saw cut line.
Grading plan?
Yep.
So the plan is saw cut right here, as well as,
Where the addition is, right?
Sorry.
saw cutting here and around here. What that entails is saw cut, there's gonna be a machine that comes in and rips out the pavement. Probably going to be importing some sub-base in order to flatten out this area. And that's the whole reason why there's any sort of grading in this buffer zone, is to accommodate handicap parking. Right now, the grade in that area is at around 6%.
It's very steep.
Yeah, so for ADA compliance, you're not allowed to exceed a 2% slope, and on the plan, you can see we have a 1.8. And this essentially gives us one handicap van spot and one regular passenger spot. And they're able to utilize the existing handicap ramp in that area. That's also right where the hatched area is.
Okay. Gotcha. And what are you doing for erosion control? Since it's so steep, like, everything's gonna wash off this site. So what's the plan for that?
Yeah, I think, so the brown line here is straw wattle that's gonna be staked in the ground. It's gonna basically be lined up right against, I think there's right around the 35. I think there's a post and rail fence that's right there. So it's gonna be just on the top of the slope, obviously before anything, it gets steep down to the wetlands.
Okay. Do we think straw wattles are enough, or should there be more for something this steep?
If the commission would want to see a dual, so have the silt fencing and the silt sock, I think that would be appropriate especially on that steep section.
Yeah.
at the
Use
top.
both in conjunction, one with the other.
Yeah.
That's not a problem at all.
Okay. Yeah, just because
Yeah, absolutely.
it's such a steep slope, that area.
I know, I was out there. I totally understand.
My cat's a patient there,
Yes,
so
yep,
I'm
yep,
familiar.
It drops right down, yeah.
Also, so this addition, is that being built off, like, are walls coming down on the existing building to create that, or is it just being tacked onto the side?
Yeah,
It's being tacked on, right? Yeah,
Yes.
it's just being tacked
Still
on.
high.
Yep, no
Okay.
walls are being removed.
Okay. Since you're getting this new parking area, is that gonna change, like, snow storage at all? Like, is snow gonna get stored there, or carted off-site?
That's a good question. I'm not too sure what snow storage looks like now. Do you know? Ginny, do you know what snow storage looks like right now?
I don't. I'll have to follow up on that. I don't think we've had many instances recently where that required snow storage, so I'll have to
It doesn't snow
do some
anymore.
research.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Yep, that's perfect. That's something that we could address.
That's funny.
Okay, I think that's all the questions I had.
All right, thanks, Chelsea. Ann, any questions?
My understanding is that someone is living in the barn currently as a resident in the barn? Is that what someone said a minute
Oh,
ago?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's a residency?
That's what I heard, yeah.
residency? Yes.
The entire the home, and then kind of goes out in an L shape out to what was formerly the barn, that has been recently used as a multi-unit resident, which is not required variance.
Okay. Now, what is going to happen to the barn? Is that coming down?
That is being demolished.
That's being
Correct.
demolished? Okay.
Yep.
And what will go in its place? Empty space? Is there something planned for that space?
Ginny might be able to answer that.
Yeah, the plan, if that were to be demolished, would be to leave that as open space.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's you some pervious ground, correct?
Yeah.
All set, Ann?
All set, thank you.
Vanessa?
I have a question about the stormwater management system. Can you speak to the circumstances under which water will be going within the resource area?
Yes.
Georgia, would you mind zooming in just a little bit?
You are, look at this.
So in the event that water will discharge, it's basically piped. It's a 12-inch pipe to the flared end structure. And with that flared end structure, it's a triangular concrete pipe end that is then laid onto a riprap bed. And with the riprap bed, it's 6 to 9 inch angular rock that dissipates the energy and dissipates velocity in order to deter erosion to the resource.
Slows
areas.
down the water.
Yes.
So that discharge point is within the 50. Is that little box that's kind of next to the blue and orange?
Yes,
and
that would be that
brown line?
riprap apron I was talking about.
Okay. And this is draining the parking lot, yes?
Yes.
So is it like a certain storm, like a certain amount that is going to be draining there in all circumstances, or is it just like heavy rainfall?
Yeah, so I believe in the 2-year storm we're retaining entirely, but we are experiencing some discharge in the 10-year storm. But remind that the 2-year storm is, I believe it's, the 2-year storm is over 3 inches of rain in a 24-hour period, so pretty significant storm. And then the 10-year too is also, it's 4.8 inches of rain, 24-hour period. So both pretty substantial events. The 2 we're retaining, and then in the 10, we do see discharge out of both of those systems.
Is everything staked out now?
No.
Wetlands are flagged though, right?
Wetlands are flagged?
Right.
Yep, wetlands
The
are flagged.
3550 is flagged?
What I can do is, I'm assuming you guys want to schedule
Oh.
a site visit, and I can have that staked out for you prior to that visit, as long as I can coordinate with Georgia on your behalf.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Vanessa?
anything else?
I think I'm good for now.
Okay. Are there any public comments, questions? Mr. Bradstreet? Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't move quick enough.
You got
Okay, for
beat out.
starters, I do not understand that map at all,
Ma'am, you are?
okay? I am a neighbor of Dr. Myers.
Your name and address, though?
In the Danvers Animal Hospital,
Your
okay.
name and address?
and for many years.
Oh, your name and address, he's asking
He's also
you.
my vet.
Your-
okay.
What's your
We
name,
need
ma'am?
your name and address,
Okay,
please.
my name is Charlene Casey, and I live at 345 Maple Street.
Okay, good, thanks. Okay, now go ahead.
This is Old Maple Street, and I understand that they really do need to enlarge this project, because right now, all of his employees park on the street, on Old Maple Street. Wintertime, it's not a good idea, you know, but anyway. The only concern my husband and I have is this project in any way going to reroute the water? Because the swamp is between him and I. And I don't want the water in my backyard. Where is it going to go?
That's that guy behind you.
Okay, that's, well, it's not really, it's not incumbent upon us. That's stormwater.
Be able to comment on it, though.
You'll have to explain to me, because I don't understand that thing.
Just briefly, because this really isn't pertain to our jurisdiction.
Yeah. So in all of the storms and all analysis points, we're actually decreasing the amount of water and runoff that we're discharging into the wetlands, as well as to the north side of the property, so along that sideline there.
Yeah, I don't get water in my basement anymore.
All right.
So she wants to know if water's gonna be diverted to her.
You know,
No. it's
No.
because
not.
I'm on the other side of I don't understand the picture at all. Where's my old Maple Street? Show me. This is Old Maple Street? Okay.
What is Old Maple Street? Is that 62?
No. No, it's,
Is it parallel to 62?
It's a dead end.
Yes.
it runs behind the hospital.
I don't want it there again.
Forest Street, like the corner of Forest Street.
He does need to
right there.
increase
Oh, okay.
his parking and
Yeah.
whatever else.
When you see the entrance to Forest Street, there's a little, there's a
Thank you.
road.
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, Mr. Bradstreet, you had a question? Sooner or later, we're gonna make him sit closer.
You never will. I tell him every time.
You heard you.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. The chambers that are supposed to allow the water to go through and let the sediment collect, is there a plan, how often, what's the schedule for collecting the sediment? To the point where it gets too big and the sediment is then carried along with the wastewater?
That's a question we always ask.
And it's also, that's a stormwater management question, again,
So you're passing the buck, huh?
if that's how you
Thank
want to
you.
interpret
Thank you.
that.
That's-
I mean, I can't answer the question, so
All
I'm
right.
gonna say, we'll leave
I
it up
thought
to
it
the
was
stormwater
worth it.
people.
I thought it was at least
The guy
worth,
behind you can answer.
I thought it was at least worth
I
asking.
thought we
Yeah.
asked about
That's
Thank you.
maintenance.
You can ask
Peter.
the guy behind you.
We do, but I wanna put on meters, when's it gonna be maintained?
Yeah, so to answer that question, we've also submitted in our stormwater report an operation and maintenance manual. Gives the homeowner or the future owner a guideline in terms of budget as well as schedule. And that's typically 2 years, the catch basins will be cleaned. Typically try to do it after the fall and in the springtime, or after the fall and then after the snow melts, you know, two critical times when debris is getting in the catch basins. And as for the underground systems, we do recommend biannual inspections. Both these systems will have inspection ports, and where they'll be able, they're plastic screw-on covers that you'll be able to pop off, look inside, and we recommend that they stick a stadia rod or some sort of, in order to gauge measurement, and we call sediment accumulation of 3 inches or higher requires a cleaning with a vac truck, and that's can be coordinated through the owner.
And this is the landowner's responsibility, right? This will never be a public.
Yes, I believe it's either the owner or whoever be managing the property.
How would that be monitored, Georgia, from staff point of view?
So every site has an operation and maintenance. You know, we go to gas stations, anything that has a Coltex system that's used over time. So now, as we get newer in the earlier 2018, the engineering division has been issuing stormwater permits that do require submission of that, and then yearly submissions, yearly check-ins, 6 months.
So do you make the rounds to make sure it's done, or how do you?
I myself don't, but I'm not sure if the
DPW.
engineering system
Somebody
department
does.
has a tracking system, but also by default. I mean, the catch basins and anything, if they are full, you know, they are observed, and
Yeah.
you want them cleaned out, or else you're gonna get backflow into your new parking lot, and
Yeah.
your parking lots are gonna get full. So it's like, why do people mow their grass? You don't have to tell them. They usually end up mowing it. But we,
Another reason to address that and make it a condition, too.
Right. Okay, is that it for public comment? Okay, my field,
There's another one.
did you have, it, ma'am? Go ahead.
This hasn't to do with that. It has to do with when Route 62 was straightened out. I don't know who did it, the state or the town. Okay, they straightened out 62. They had to build up my backyard. I've got everything in my backyard now, pipes, foundation from the old house. They just plowed it over into my backyard to fill it in. So I was street level. Okay, they put the cul-de-sac in, but evidently, I've called the town and everything, but nothing seems to work. The cul-de-sac is not graded properly. So the ditch that the water is supposed to run into, it doesn't. It puddles right outside where the cul-de-sac goes across by my yard. You know, and no one ever comes up and dredges it out or digs it out. It's all covered with weeds now. And, you know, my husband and I are older. We can't get out there and do that. So, you know, we'd appreciate it if they would come up and fix that, because it's not, the cul-de-sac, the water doesn't even go there. It's supposed to go over by the side of my yard, but it comes this way towards my yard. You know, so.
Okay. Does the stormwater evaluation, does that have public input or public hearing? When they talk about the stormwater management, is
Yeah.
that a public hearing?
no, so the engineering, that permitting for stormwater is strictly through staff. I mean, they're welcome to look at the stormwater application, but I would say the planning board meeting is also where stormwater will be discussed in depth. And the town engineer, his comments on the stormwater system and his technical review, that's discussed at planning board. Yeah.
So I would recommend, if you're
Go to
that
the
interested,
planning
to see when it's on the planning board's agenda and speak your piece there.
Go to the planning board meeting, and they'll address that.
Okay, any other comments? Nope. I, for one, would like to see this site in person. I'm sure
Me too.
we could get a consensus on
After
that.
they stake,
Get the
Well, she said
state-
she would do that as
Yeah.
part of, okay, so Georgia, can you and Devin work out a time we can
Yeah.
see that?
Mhm.
Okay, that being said,
Check on your poll.
why don't we make a motion to continue? Can we do that in the next 2 weeks, or do we want to give it 4 weeks?
No, let's do that in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2
Thank
weeks.
you, if
Two?
the commission
You can
may.
get it, okay.
Yeah. Please,
Mindful of Labor Day.
Well, that's right, we have a long weekend coming up.
Yeah,
that's
Sure
right.
Mike will be going away.
we're going, okay.
Okay, someone can make a motion to continue to our September the 8th meeting, and we'll move from there.
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for 367 Maple Street, DEP file number 14-1391 to September 8th.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, we look forward to
And seeing you
having you.
again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you so much, commission members, appreciate
Wow.
it. You guys have a wonderful night.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, is that it?
Older new business?
Is there any old or new business, Georgia?
No, sir.
You would sneak
All
out
right.
of here with.
Where are you going, Georgia? You going on vacation?
Why don't
We're gonna
why
try to
don't
go
we
to the
adjourn
vineyard real
first?
quick. We'll close the
Okay,
meeting
let's
first.
adjourn the meeting first.
All right.
Vanessa.
So someone can make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Take care,
Aye.
good night.
Okay.
We're off the air.